I'm going to give you my explanation about what it means to be transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy or a girl.
I remember way back in the day when I first began to get into really following politics for myself, not just, listening and talking to my dad who raised me in conservatism. And the first election that I really got glued into, I was in junior high school, and it was the election of Ronald Reagan the first time. And then, of course, his re-election when I was in high school. But after I got out of college and had my first job, I was working in sales at the time, and I discovered this voice on the radio one day in the car, the great Maharishi Rush Limbaugh. And the tutelage that I got in the understanding of the conservative perspective lined up so much like what I got from my dad, and I was just so in awe of Rush. And of course, I was also, on top of doing sales, a radio guy. So I really loved Rush's masterful way of doing radio, and the fact that he wasn't doing a guest format. He wasn't having guests on and talking to them. He was taking phone calls, but I noticed that, he wasn't going to let phone calls get in the way of his monologues. And if he had something to say, you could sit on the line 1-2 hours. He didn't care. He could fill that hour very easily. I do the same on my radio show. In fact, we say it's thought radio, not talk radio. I don't take callers. There was a time when I first got started, I used to take callers once in a while, never really about political issues. Some days I would just get so discouraged looking at the headlines. I'm like, I can't do this today. So I would go ahead and say, we're going to talk about something stupid today. And I filled an entire hour one day getting people to argue back and forth on the phone with each other. And we conference called it, which was better, Dunkin' Donuts coffee or Starbucks. And then one day it was, which is better, Coke or Pepsi? But Rush said something back in the day that resonated with me, and he was 100% right. When liberals are not in power, that's when they really show you how insane they are. And we're watching right now that even though the liberals control Congress, even though the liberals are large and in charge, and of course they went with a huge overreach and they were going to ramrod all this crapola down our throats, and they've killed the economy. They have no answers to what to do about inflation, except now Bernie's running around out there going, we just stop paying people $30 an hour. Right, Bernie, because giving people $30 an hour, that's going to fix inflation. No, it'll drive it even higher. You boneheads, it would really help if, aside from just, regurgitating your boobology, you actually took a course in economics to understand a little bit how an economy works before you espouse something so ludicrously ridiculous of, hey, we can't get anybody to show up for the $15 an hour minimum wage job, so let's make it 30. Anyway, they have no solutions to all of the crises that they have created. So, but they're going out of their minds that people have now said, we're done with you. You people are lunatics. You masked us. You mandated us. You wanted to jab us. You're going to tell us what we can and can't do with our health. You got Fauci out there saying that courts have no right to tell the CDC or him what to do. Really? Really? I missed the meeting where the CDC became the all-encompassing, got to hand out edicts and dictates regarding health. They're an advisory board. That's all they've ever been. We ignore the CDC on all kinds of things every day. Example, the CDC will tell you you should never eat a piece of meat that isn't at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit internally. Well, there goes minimum rare steak. Sorry. I'm going to assume the risk and eat my steak minimum rare. And I'm going to assume the risk and I'm going to breathe fresh air. And if that makes me sick, then that's on me. Leave me alone. But the libs know they are losing influence and they're going crazy. They've lost Twitter and they're going out of their minds because this was the way they controlled the narrative. I mean, The reason the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media is freaking out is this echo chamber of Twitter became the evening headlines. Whatever was trending on Twitter is what they talked about on the news, and they just wrote the scripts to just keep complimenting and echo chambering each other. And now all of a sudden, there is a distinct possibility if Elon Musk makes good on his promise, that's all gone. Bye, 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 bye. It'll be real free speech. But they're also freaking out that parents are actually taking the schools back. I said if there was any good thing at all that came out of the lockdowns, it was parents got engaged again with their kids' education. You know, they began to look over the shoulder of their kids sitting on the couch, you know, watching their Zoom classes. And for the first time, they began to discover what some of these freaks that we call teachers were actually exposing their children to. The whole CRT, which is why the Democrats lost Virginia. And now this sexualizing of children, which we're constantly being told by the left is off the charts, it's hyperbole, that is not what's happening. Well, the libs of TikTok, which was nothing more than someone taking all of the TikTok videos of a bunch of libloon teachers and just replaying them. They weren't making this up. They weren't delving into people's deep, dark secrets or, you know, stealing their private videos. No, these were videos that were already been posted by teachers. And so somebody got the idea, why don't we just take all these lunatics and let's just put them all in one location where you can just easily find them, like files on YouTube. And you listen now to what these teachers have to say about exposing 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 5-year-olds to sexual content.
My name's Az and I'm a preschool teacher. Recently we started wearing pronoun pins and the kids get to pick a new pronoun pin every day. We have some that pick like she, her every single day, and we have some that change it up.
So I'm a non-binary preschool teacher, and my kids know I'm non-binary. They know I'm not a girl or a boy. I use they, them pronouns in the classroom. We work on it. Not all the kids get it. That's okay. And I go by Mix Gray in the classroom, not Miss or Mister.
Man, y'all thought me teaching the children about me being poly was crazy. But not only that, but they also know that I'm gender fluid.
I'm going to give you my explanation about what it means to be transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy or a girl.
Kids as young as 3 and 4 are actually aware of their gender identity, even if they don't have the language for it. To say that pre-K through 3rd grade are not ready for such topics is actually internalized homophobia and transphobia.
I'm sorry, I don't care which side of the political aisle you come from, but can anybody really look at that and then say they want to defend it and explain it, that this is a healthy thing to be exposing children to? I mean, did I miss a meeting? I mean, I'm not that old. I'm 54 years old. I raised 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. They're in their early to mid-20s. And I could tell you, I don't feel like it was that long ago that I was, you know, the dad going to their elementary school functions and assemblies and special nights. But I can tell you that even though I understand we live in this so-called, you know, progressive era, there are certain things which I'm still very much like my dad was, and I'm sure my father's father and the generations which go before. And I think that crosses political lines, that there are just certain things you don't talk to kids about. And I missed the memo where all of a sudden it was considered normal and healthy for adults to be talking to kids on a sexually graphic nature about what individuals do that engages in sexual activity, and that determines what your sexual orientation is and what your fluidity is. And are you kidding me? Can I tell you, if any adult had ever done that with one of my children, we'd have had a come to Jesus moment. And the libloons are in meltdown mode. And on the one hand, they're always screaming about corporations don't pay their fair share. And now Ron DeSantis is saying, well, we can fix that in Florida. Disney, you want to defend this? You want to defend teachers like that? You know what? You want to engage in the political process. You want to throw your weight and your money around and your wokeism and you want to push politicians to do this. Well, then fine. You can at least be a part of the system that you say you want to fix by paying your taxes to that system. So they got rid of all of Disney's tax breaks. And now the very same liberals are crying, I can't do that. You had Colorado telling Disney, come on over to us. That isn't going to happen. They can't be open year-round there. Even some judge in Texas is telling Disney, come on over to Texas. Okay, you do understand, not only are they going to need a landmass the size of San Francisco, but it's going to take hundreds of billions of dollars to replicate anywhere else what they got in Florida. So, good job, Governor DeSantis. Hope you understand now what it is that he is pushing back against, what it is Disney is defending. And I've said it before and I will say it again. Schools are not about education. They're about indoctrination. And you've got a bunch of pedophiles, perverts, and predators preying and grooming kids. This is about getting them at the age of 5 to think differently so that the generation that comes in behind them just embraces all of this as normal. It is not normal. It is not healthy. It is not right. Do you get it now?